Naked Kaiju Woman is a situation of one for me and one for you, except they're all for me. Like how George Clooney will make a big blockbuster so that he can make his artsy stuff on the side. The difference is all of my stuff is blockbuster stuff, and Naked Kaiju Woman is also for me. Hello, and welcome to Pesto Comics. This is the entry for September 27th, 2025. A paid post, cutting through. Should we all just do NSFW? Welcome back. If you're watching this around the time it was posted, you can actually come find me in person. I'm at Word on the Street in downtown Toronto by David Pico Square. That's King and John for those of you who are local. From what I understand, it's going to be really cold this weekend, so make sure you bundle up, but definitely come show your support. Make it worth my while for being out in the cold. More important than that, let's talk about something that's happening right now. The live campaign for Naked Kaiju Woman 2. As it stands right now, it's the best performing Kickstarter campaign that we've ever had, and it's only beating its predecessor in Naked Kaiju Woman 1. There's something to that. It's in a category that just does well on Kickstarter. It's something that a lot of people who do other genres have lamented for a long time. It almost feels like a cheat code where other campaigns, I'm always pushing stretch goals and doing multiple updates, and I'm incessant on social media. For this campaign, it seems to be getting in front of people no problem. Even with the split from previous backers to new backers, it's very impressive, as it's a 60-40 split with 60% returning and 40% that we've never seen back a campaign from Pesto Comics before. It's been astounding to see just how well this campaign is doing, with me pushing it very minimally. Yeah, there's ads on Facebook, and I made sure to message everybody from previous campaigns using tools like BackerKit Launch. It's amazing to see just how far this is getting out there, even without a Project We Love badge on this specific campaign. That's not to say that I'm not a little bit upset that we didn't get it this time around, but that's more of a vanity piece than anything right now, given how well the campaign is doing anyway. So today, I wanted to dive into exactly that. Is Kickstarter an NSFW platform masquerading as one that's there for all comics? Or is it just a matter of finding the right audience? Today, we'll dig into it a little bit using my experience with Naked Kaiju Woman as context. The NSFW landscape on Kickstarter. So, without a doubt, NSFW books do the best on Kickstarter. That's just a fact at this point. One Substack I recommend following if you're interested in all of this is Kevin Laporte's The Comics Crowd, as every week he breaks down all of the new campaigns that are hitting Kickstarter and has a bit of a bone to pick with the NSFW cover mills. And that's one of the differences. Not all NSFW projects are the same, but they all seem to do well regardless. Some just seem to be AI cover farms with minimal content and sometimes just palette swaps with dozens of variant covers. Other times, you get ones with deep and rich story that just happen to be a little more cheeky. Some of the books I could even recommend, like everything that Pat Shand is doing with his various companies across Kickstarter, some of the work from Anthony Stokes or the Bad Bug crew. There's a lot of great NSFW books out there, and even though they're a little more risque than what I would do, they're doing it in a way that they're still delivering a high quality book. That can't be said for everyone, of course. What I'm doing with Naked Kaiju Woman is using NSFW books as an audience builder. My goal is to get the name of Pesto Comics out there as far and wide as possible, though I don't intend on doing just NSFW books. I have no qualms about jumping genres back and forth, doing totally different books from one to the next. That doesn't mean I won't do a different NSFW book in the future. In fact, once the series of Naked Kaiju Woman is done, I have new books that are waiting to follow right behind it. I think NSFW books are always going to be part of the strategy for as long as I'm on Kickstarter, as that seems to be the best way to break through the noise. With over 300 books being launched every month, you need something different. And if that's what the audience is asking for, who am I to tell them not to get it? You know, if you've read Naked Kaiju Woman, that the way I'm doing NSFW is just a little bit different. I'm not doing it just to titillate. I'm doing it because I'm taking the piss out of it a little bit. I find the fact that the genre does so well always a little bit funny. And although I'm happy to play in the sandbox, my approach to this whole genre is a little different than some others might be, and it seems like I've found a nice little niche to tell a story that's more of a satire than anything else. I'm finding this perfect middle between the two audiences, as people who enjoy naked ladies are getting a ton of that in Naked Kaiju Woman, but people who don't necessarily enjoy the genre, but enjoy indie comics are also getting something out of it, as this is kind of a commentary on all of that, while also being part of the problem. So I'm pretty lucky that that message has seemed to have made it through to readers. One thing I've been repeating a lot, both on the Instant Ink comic book podcast and on other podcasts like the Graphic Novel Apostle, is Naked Kaiju Woman is a situation of one for me and one for you, except they're all for me. Like how George Clooney will make a big blockbuster so that he can make his artsy stuff on the side. The difference is all of my stuff is blockbuster stuff, and Naked Kaiju Woman is also for me. That said, I don't always want to play in the not safe for work sandbox. I don't know that I have enough to say about it. I mean, I get squeamish when I read romance novels and they get to the sex scenes. It's like the opposite of pornography to me. I read romance novels because I enjoy the rom-com aspect of it. I like the meet cute. I like the dates that go awry and how they finally find themselves together. And having 2 or 3 chapters of just lurid description of what exactly is happening just does nothing for me. So I usually end up skipping past those chapters, if not dropping the book at all, if that's what it's become, as a couple of books I've recently read have done. So it's not the kind of genre that I think I'd be able to do too much in. I'm always going to have to take an angle that's going to be a little different. That said, I find that to be an interesting challenge. And the big thing is the rewards are huge for doing so. As I mentioned, Naked Kaiju Woman 2 is already the best campaign for Pesto Comics of all time. That is only followed by Naked Kaiju Woman 1. How am I supposed to leave this genre given that's exactly what Kickstarter is asking for? So that just means I got to be a lot more creative about how I get into the genre without selling myself out entirely. That doesn't mean this is without risk. I'm putting adult content out there with my name on it. Yes, it's all tongue in cheek. Yes, it's pretty silly, but at the end of the day, it's not for everyone and not everyone wants to see that from me. Whenever I go to conventions, I make a point of not putting this book on the table, at least not for people to flip through. I don't emphasize this book. Yes, it's my bestseller out of all my books, but I don't want to put it front and center that it drives people away from all of my other books. I've already had a few sneers as people walk by. Most people are good-natured, and given the types of covers I'm doing, they understand that I'm not going for something that's just lurid. You can't be everything for everyone, but I also don't want to close too many doors just to make some extra sales. The other side of this is, yes, I'm reaching more people than ever before, and my audience is growing, but that doesn't mean that translates to sales across all of my books. I went from my best campaign in Naked Kaiju Woman 1 to 2 of my lowest selling campaigns with From Parts Unknown 2 and 3. There are other reasons why those books failed, which part of it was the release strategy and the lack of push that I had and just having too many campaigns out there at once. But a really big piece of it was that audiences just don't cross over. Just because they enjoy Naked Kaiju Woman doesn't mean they're going to enjoy my vampire wrestling book or any of the other new stuff that I have coming on. And that's fine. I'm trying to cast a wide a net as possible. As long as I'm not scaring too many people away that would have supported me otherwise, I think it's well worth the cost. One new thing that's been long overdue is Kickstarter's After Dark section, which I think will make a lot of sense, as the people who don't want to see it won't be threatened by seeing it. In fact, a lot of the times you'll support a book that has nothing to do with NSFW, and most of the recommendations that are popping up are in that ilk. And I could see that being a bit of a problem. I don't necessarily know that they need to have their own section, but I think having its own category may help quell some of the concerns that regular creators have. So what is my point in all this? Should you do NSFW if you're a budding creator and trying to break through? Really? That's up to you. I think like any genre of comics or any genre of art, really, if your heart's not in it, it's going to show and you're not going to do well. I feel like the reason Naked Kaiju Woman does well is because I enjoy it. I was joking before, it's the one for me, one for you, but it's all for me. That's the truth. I wrote this book because I thought that the idea was pretty funny, and I thought Raphael draws an amazing naked woman, and I thought, well, this is a great opportunity to try something with Kickstarter, and I'm very glad I did, because I've reached people that I never would have reached otherwise. Plus, we've had some really cool stories, and 3 more to come after Naked Kaiju Woman 2. This is a 5-part series, and as I mentioned, I got other stories that I'll be doing with Raphael in the near future as well. So once Naked Kaiju Woman is done, I'll have that rolling out. I don't want to become just the NSFW guy, not that I think there's anything wrong with that. I just don't think I'm a Pat Shand who has these stories that I can keep doing and having something new to say. I have a few things to say, and I'll certainly say them, and they're stories that are NSFW for a reason, but they're always going to come from my viewpoint, which is always a little bit goofy and skewed. So if you're on the fence about it, dig deep, look and see if it's something that you're actually interested in doing. If it is, all the power to you. You'll probably do really well. just make sure it's something that you want to do and something you want to push, because like anything on Kickstarter, it doesn't just fund itself. You have to show that you're serious. You have to have a real product that people will enjoy, and something that you're not going to burn bridges with in the long run. You want it to be something that you can be proud of. As long as you have that, I'll be here for it. Until next time. I mentioned off the top that this is a paid post, so if you want to see the whole conversation, get yourself over to pestocomics.substack.com and make sure to subscribe. You'll save a lot of money if you subscribe annually, as I'm trying to keep the costs as low as humanly possible. If you're not joining us there, I'll see you next week as we talk about the 3 phases of crowdfunding.